Good morning, everyone. Awesome. All right, so, well, good morning. I hope everything is good so far here. So, first thing first, I'm Chilla, so it's a pleasure meeting you all. And my role is growth at Polaris, so I will tell you a bit more about it. I will tell you a bit more about it just later, but, well, let's start by saying that this speech will be about stablecoins and precisely about how can we scale stablecoins that are both centralized or maybe decentralized, actually, because right now the market is mostly about centralized stablecoins, which is fine. I mean, that's totally understandable, but, well, as you can see, everything is centralized right now. But the infrastructure rails that we are working on right now, like Ethereum and all the other blockchains, are, well, decentralized. So why shouldn't we have a form of money that is actually decentralized instead, that is not issued by a centralized authority? So the main questions for today will be, should we just bring TradFi yield on-chain and just basically give up DeFi? Or, well, how can we scale decentralized stablecoins? Or, as well, what does scaling really mean for stablecoins? So, the market right now is growing so fast, it's growing tremendously, which is great, of course. We are finding a huge product market fit for stablecoins. At the same time, as I was saying before, the infrastructure is totally different though. For instance, we have Tether, we have USDC, USDT, of course, they are great. They are utilized by everybody right now. They have a huge Lindy effect. Everybody identifies stablecoins with these two ones. But they are not even providing yield to the actual average user. They keep the yield for themselves. Similar is for Sky ecosystem, which was previously MakerDAO, which started as a decentralized stablecoin, if you remember DAI, but then changed. And now the reserves are basically fully USDC, and now they rebranded to Sky Ecosystem, which is great, but it is more like a yield aggregator. Similar thing for ETHMilan, that is not even utilizing delta neutral strategies anymore. Anyways, we'll talk about it later. So let's take a step back, just quickly. There is a stablecoin trilemma. So I don't know if you guys know about it, but yeah, there is a trilemma for stablecoins as well. It is about decentralization, price stability, and capital efficiency. Capital efficiency can be also named scalability, basically, because the less money you have to put into a stablecoin to make it work, and the more you can scale. Well, it is totally understandable that so far stablecoins have focused on scalability, as centralized businesses should do, actually, as businesses in general should do. So they didn't focus on decentralization, and they focused on the other 2 points, which is totally understandable. So no stablecoin has achieved all of these 3. Just a couple of examples. As I was saying before, we had DAI at the beginning, which was a very interesting experiment, which, well, it basically failed because it is not decentralized anymore, and actually it is rebranding, as we said before, into Sky Ecosystem USDS. As a yield aggregator. Then we had Luna, UST. I don't want to bring you nightmares again about this one, but I just want to say that, yeah, algorithmic stablecoins are not really working because there is not like an hard asset to actually backstop any potential losses. So, yeah, that's something that we are not, I mean, the market is not really interested into them anymore, even though they are decentralized, because they don't have price stability instead. And then we have ETHMilan, again, that is totally changing its business model, because it was initially about being DeFi native with these delta neutral strategies, with these integrations within DeFi, but it has been changing significantly, because right now it's more like a yield aggregator, a yield provider, and actually it is not even doing delta neutral strategies anymore, and they are just focused on RWAs. So, which is fine. I mean, it is totally fine to have this kind of business model. They are growing, they are a great business, but at the same time, well, they are getting even more centralized as an issuer. So this is one of the uncomfortable truths right now in the market, because if you take a look at these images and these numbers, actually 93% of these stable coins are generated by a centralized issuer, and they can just be frozen anytime by anybody who wants it. And this is actually growing. I mean, these numbers are growing quarter by quarter. We don't fully understand this because we live here in European countries or Western countries, but that's a little bit different for several other countries and people. Similarly, just $226 million out of $323 billion are censorship resistant. So they are created by decentralized stablecoins that cannot actually be put down by anybody, any authorities. Another, well, uncomfortable truth, I would say, is that, so bear with me, but many stablecoins lately are not really currencies. So for currencies, we mean usually means of exchange and low risk, store of value. Right now, these many stablecoins that are entering this market are mostly about roped T-bills, tokenized vault strategies. They are tokenizing risk, basically. They are more like debt instruments pegged to a USD or euro. And but at the same time, they accumulate risk on risk. They accumulate dependencies as well. For instance, this is a crazy number that I found, but USDC is utilized by more than other 50 stablecoins as a roped asset. So basically, more than 50 other stablecoins are a roped version of USDC. And so they are taking, I mean, they're bringing novelties, but at the same time, they are taking the risk that USDC already has. USDC, of course, is a very big stablecoin, but we already saw the problems that it might have. For instance, with the SBV, like 3 years ago when it depegged to like 0.92 for a weekend or so. So the point is, should we go towards decentralized stablecoins? Well, not yet, in the sense that decentralized stablecoins right now are not really sustainable, well, not sustainable, but scalable, in the sense that Bold, for the ones of you that know liquidity, Bold, their stablecoin, is actually the best one in terms of design. This is taken from Pharos Watch, which is an analytics assessment website. As you can see, the rating actually is the best one out of all these stablecoins, but still, it is not scalable. Why is that? Probably because they are focusing on, well, the crypto ethos, the cypherpunk ethos. They are not really focusing on distribution, on having as many users as possible. They are just focusing on a particular niche of people. So I was thinking about what actually drives a stablecoin, what actually scales a stablecoin. And even though there are several things that do that, probably the four biggest ones are, well, integrations, because you want your own stablecoins to be your own stablecoin to be everywhere. You want users to be able to find it, utilize it. You want yield products, DeFi products everywhere. You can find it everywhere. At the same time, simplicity, because nobody really minds about minting a stablecoin. The process has a lot of friction. Nobody wants it. They just want to earn yield on top of it. They just want to use it as simply as possible. And after that, distribution, because you don't want to limit yourself to a particular niche of people. That's too limiting. You want as many people as possible, as many users, as many retails, as many institutionals as well. You don't want to say no to institutionals, absolutely not. You want everybody to utilize it. And then, finally, liquidity. Liquidity is more like a second-order effect to these other ones, of course, but at the same time, it also means that you need to provide liquidity in the right ranges or in the right protocols, in the right venues, in the right pathways that you want your stablecoin to be in, where you want the users to actually find it and utilize it as much as possible. But let me be fully honest. So I guess that nobody really minds about the crypto ethos, about the cypherpunk ethos. And that is totally fine. I mean, we are more mature right now. But, so the point is that the crypto ethos is fine, but you need to have all the other points. You need to have distribution, integration, liquidity, all these other things, because if you have them, all right, you're already good. And if you have the cypherpunk ethos, so if you are decentralized, if you are crypto-aligned, then you are great. But if you are only cypherpunk, then it's basically useless. And that's why I wanted to show you this image. it shows the yield on Bold, which is the liquidity stablecoin, totally decentralized. It is going great, actually. It is a very high yield with respect to other centralized stablecoins, but it is not scaling. It is not growing. And I admire, actually, those guys. They are great, but it is not growing. Probably for the reasons that I said before. So the main question here is, we're growing a lot in terms of centralized exchanges, decentralized exchanges. We have DEXs that are more important right now than centralized exchanges. So why shouldn't we have a form of money that is actually decentralized as well, that we can utilize on these decentralized exchanges? Well, we could potentially do that. So I wanted to introduce Polaris. I don't want to shill it. Okay, I work for them. I work with them. I've been working with them since well, more than a year, actually. I don't want to shill it, but, well, we are tackling these issues. The point is that we are trying to generate yield directly on chain. We don't want dependencies off chain or even on chain, actually. We don't want RWAs, T-bills, other TradFi looping, which are fine, but it's just not our thing. We want to build our own yield, our own infrastructure on ourselves. And, well, we are crypto ethos oriented. We are cypherpunk ourselves, actually. And so we like these main features that are, we are counterparty free, so no dependencies off-chain or on-chain. We are immutable. The code will be totally immutable after the launch. The yield will be scalable as well, which is a problem that liquidity has right now. But it will be scalable because the more the supply grows and the more we will have the yield, because the yield is created by fees on-chain, by our own conversion fees, swap fees, liquidity flows, interest rates, and many other things that other protocols don't have because we have our own infrastructure. That's the difference. And then it will be fully on-chain. So just very quickly, we have our own native reserve asset, PETH, which is the engine of all of this. You build your own yield infrastructure underneath. The point then is to actually integrate it as much as possible with as many protocols that you can within DeFi, because you don't want to be limited by your own integrations. You want to be everywhere, basically. Everywhere, everybody should be able to find you. Both people, retails, and institutionals. Then, only then, when you have the liquidity, you can actually build a sustainable stablecoin on top of it, which is backed by PETH in a decentralized way. And then you can also build synthetic assets. For instance, we are going to mint immediately P-Gold at the beginning. But other people, other companies will be able to mint and integrate with other assets like P-Euro, P-Swiss franc, P-Oil as well, P-BTC, everything that they want as synthetic assets, taking the liquidity from our own infrastructure that we built underneath. Now, well, just one thing very quickly. I don't want to shill it again, but we are right now in testnet, so it is not launched yet. But we are getting some interesting feedback, some interesting yield as well right now. Of course, it's just fake money, but something interesting that could be done with this is getting yield counterparty free, so no risk from external dependencies on gold. Like 3-4%, we are getting now 3-4% yield on gold, counterparty free, and also the borrowing rate is negative. So you actually get paid to borrow this gold. How do you do that? Because there is enough activity. Because if the platform is integrated on as many platforms as possible, then you get activity. If you get activity, you get users. If you get users, you get liquidity, and so on and so forth. So you expand like that. Well, just wanted to conclude by saying that the market is maturing. Everything is changing a lot. We are getting into institutionalization, which is totally fine. But at the same time, we are wondering whether, well, we should still keep trying to build our own infrastructure to then integrate traditional finance, rather than actually letting traditional finance get the yield from us. We need to build our own yield, our own infrastructure to then scale and grow as much as possible. So yeah, thanks a lot for bearing with me, for the interest, and yeah, if you want to scan the QR code, just if you want to check out Polaris, we are going to rebrand soon, so everything will change, everything will be a little bit better, but yeah, thanks a lot, guys.